Hi, everyone. My name is Livia Marcus, and I am a rising senior at Florida State University studying political science and urban and regional planning.
And I'm Taylor Bogdan. I graduated this May from Barnard College with a bachelor's in urban studies and art history.
We will be sharing our progress with the DDA walk audit assessment. This has been our ongoing summer project, what we spend the most time on during our internship.
First, here's a quick overview of the walk assessments. On the right, you see the DDA's boundary map, which is the full area in downtown Fort Lauderdale of DDA core investment and improvements. We've been focusing each week on auditing different districts within this larger boundary, basically neighborhoods or grouped block areas. You'll see the districts we've done so far in a couple of slides. For this audit, we're using a combination of survey data collected through SurveyMonkey and exported into Google Sheets, as well as an annotated photographic inventory cataloged using Google My Maps. There are a couple of main goals for this project. First, the DDA can gain a comprehensive overview of downtown streets and intersections, both quantitatively and qualitatively. This data will then be usable for future development projects or improvements. As for the scope of the project, ideally it will include the entire boundary you see on the right. However, Olivia and I will likely only be able to complete about 50% of this boundary by the time our internship ends. Initially, our internship was scheduled to end on July 31st, but due to recent events unfolding, we will be able to continue working into the month of August and possibly beyond.
So here you can see a small portion of our spreadsheet, which includes the data we have collected from our walk audits. Like Taylor mentioned, the survey is taken on our phones using SurveyMonkey, and the information is later exported into a spreadsheet and formatted to what you see here. The categories of data we collect include corridor configuration, sidewalks, ADA components, lighting, maintenance, transit, street furniture, experiential, as well as social.
So here is the actual spreadsheet itself. As you can see, the survey is quite comprehensive. So far, in the 6 districts we have walked, we have surveyed 156 street segments and 99 intersections. Responses are split up into north-south streets, east-west streets, and intersections, and within that, organized by district. There are a total of 41 questions that help us get a full view of each street and sidewalk. Each survey starts off with naming the street as well as its northern and southern or eastern and western boundaries. We write it out this way so the spreadsheet can easily be sorted and searched by location. We determine the rating for each street by seeing what condition it is in, what amenities it offers, and what type of overall walking experience there is within that block. The questions we include are both data-driven as well as anecdotal. The majority of questions are either yes, no, or check marks. Check marks are used for categories in which a street segment may have 2 or more characteristics. For example, under maintenance, a street may have 2 or 3 types of street issues. As for anecdotal information, one example is in the social category. We have questions about what attractions street segments offer. This can include anything from small businesses to parks to restaurants. This information may not be as easy to sort through or compare, but it helps give us as detailed a perspective as possible. We realize the data we have collected may not be fully representative of the typical downtown experience due to the ongoing COVID crisis. The intersection survey is more of a quick overview and a lot shorter than the street survey. We include a question about line striping, curb ramps, as well as other elements. Each intersection receives a rating 1 through 5, like the streets and sidewalks, which makes it easy for us to quickly compare different streets and intersections to see what the conditions are within a specific area. The spreadsheet is the bulk of our quantitative data. Like we mentioned earlier, the information outlined in the spreadsheet can be used as a reference point for future DDA development projects.
As I mentioned, streets and sidewalks all receive an overall rating ranging from 1 to 5 that is determined by the various categories. A 1 rating would be considered a block that needs major improvements, and a 5 being a model for other streets. Here you can see what a 5 and 1 intersection looks like. Characteristics of a 5 would include visible crosswalks and good condition line striping, while characteristics of a 1 would be lacking that. Characteristics of a 5 street segment may include wide sidewalks, well-maintained landscaping, and multiple types of street furniture. A 1 street segment, on the other hand, may have missing sidewalks, various street or aesthetic issues, and an overall unpleasant walking experience.
As Olivia mentioned, we take the survey while in the field, but we also take photographs of the various elements we want to note while in the field. The photographs we take, along with some annotations, are then added to Google My Maps to create a visual catalog of everything we want to highlight about each street and intersection. Here on the right, you can see the districts we have completed thus far outlined in blue and turquoise, a total of 6. We also have 3 additional districts outlined in orange that we will be completing in the next couple of weeks. The map is broken up into layers that contain different information, including the district boundaries, streets, intersections, and supplemental data points. The supplemental data points we record are for missing sidewalks, maintenance issues, aesthetic issues, exemplary sidewalks or elements, and positive elements. Here is the map. Similar to the spreadsheet, it has a lot of information packed onto it. Each layer of information can be toggled on or off, which allows us a multitude of views of all the data. Depending on which layers are visible, we can easily visualize which corridors or districts need the most work, including which areas may contain the most of a certain type of issue, or we can see which streets have recently been upgraded and contain the most positive elements. Each data point we have entered on the map contains a photograph and annotation. Street lines show the rating we've given that street, as do intersection points. Supplemental points typically have a description of what issue is present or what inspiration we can take from that example. The DDA is hoping to have this map, or a version of it, embedded on its website in the future so the public can see what the study has included, and possibly the public can offer additional information or suggestions. We would love for some of the work we're doing to become an open data source for Fort Lauderdale and continue to be added onto in the future. You may be wondering how we can actually interpret all of this information. First, we extract raw data from both the spreadsheet and map and put it into tables. We currently have about 10 tables with different data that we use to help see patterns about ratings or frequency of issues in districts or whatever else we can pull from what we've collected in the field. On the screen, you can see 2 of our data tables. The table on the left, for example, shows ratings. From the Excel spreadsheet, we add up how many street segments, intersections, and sidewalks from each district have different ratings. So for District 1, you can see that 16.22% of streets are rated a 5, meaning they are great streets in terms of walkability. 13.51% of streets, on the other hand, need major improvements. From the tables, we then shift over to a summary analysis of the districts. We take the percentages and numbers and turn them into something that can be understood easily and applied to coming up with investment and development recommendations. We combine the calculations we've done with example photographs and anecdotal information. Here, you see part of our summary analysis for District 1, which includes Flagler and Fat Village. On the left, there's an example of both a great street and a street that needs a lot of work to be truly pedestrian friendly. There's also a common trend noted about development in this area, wherein new developments often put in great sidewalks and amenities, but leave the other portion of the street segment in bad condition. On the right are some of our summaries about District 1, including that over 70% of sidewalks within that area have an obstruction, and over 40% of sidewalks include permanently placed obstructions like utility boxes or trees. This hinders walkability and creates an inaccessible space for some pedestrians. We also summarize each district's identity, which includes a meshing of its business and land use types, common aesthetics, ease of walkability, best and worst street examples, etc. On the bottom right, you see our summary for District 1, which includes how it is an artsy, up-and-coming neighborhood with a lot of recently improved blocks and a lot of planned or ongoing construction. Working with a summary analysis like this basically gives us as comprehensive a view as possible for someone who wasn't walking along with us.
As for what's next, Taylor and I are still conducting our walk audits and anticipate to complete 9 distinct districts by the end of our internship. As Taylor mentioned, 3 districts in orange are ones we will cover in the next few weeks, and all 9 districts will be covered in our final report. With the information we have collected, we will be forming a comprehensive final report including data and analysis, as well as our recommendations based on what we have found throughout this project. Our hope is that the DDA will be able to utilize our final report in the future and extract necessary information from it for upcoming projects to improve upon the walking experience of downtown Fort Lauderdale. And now we're going to open it up to Q&A.